Last week, as we continued thinking about some passages to equip ourselves with for the challenges and difficulties of the Christian life, we looked at a passage from Isaiah which tells us not to fear, for God is with us. We need not be afraid because He is our God. He will help us and strengthen us and uphold us with His righteous right hand. And it was there and designed to give us peace and strength and hope in the midst of worry. And this week I want us to continue on with that idea, and the reason behind it is simply because so much of our life is spent worrying and concerned and facing challenges and difficulties of various kinds. I think all of us know by now that the possibility of a life without worry and suffering and sorrow and difficulty is not possible. We are going to face challenges every single day. So how do we deal with those, and what do we do with those? Now, truth be told, we deal with them in a whole host of manner. All mankind deals with them in different ways. And the passage that we're going to look at today from Jeremiah and chapter 17 is a conversation from God to Jeremiah to share with his people. And it lays out the reality of two different types of hope. And it begins by referring to those who put their trust in man, those who put their trust in people, whose hope is in themselves or other people, or in their strength, in their wisdom. And that brings in a category of lots of different people. Many people across the world put their trust in presidents, in prime ministers, in governments, in celebrities, in heroes, in family members, in individuals, in systems of theory and wholeness and philosophy created by people. All these different ideas and hopes to enable them to manage and get through the difficulties of life in a way that is helpful, a way that enables them to have strength and hope and courage for what goes ahead. But as God speaks to Jeremiah, he says those kinds of people are like shrubs in the wilderness, in deserted places. In fact, it speaks of those that are shrubs in salt land, kind of like those places you may have seen that did land speed records, where they have this kind of flat for miles and miles of just this crusty, hard salt layer, with no nourishment, with no refreshment, with nothing. And he is saying to Jeremiah to tell these people, don't be like that. Don't put your trust in mankind or in yourself or in your own strength or your own wisdom or your own hope, because if you do that, what you will find is it may be okay for a while, but the moment that the drought comes, the difficulty comes, you will find yourself far from refreshed. Instead, you will find yourself thirsting for help and strength and courage and hope. And he says, don't be like that. Instead, he says, be like those that put their trust in the Lord. And this is what he says. It's from Jeremiah chapter 17, verses 7 to 8. And it says this: the person who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence indeed is the Lord, is blessed. He is like a tree planted by water. Its roots send out towards the stream. It does not fear the heat, and its foliage remains green. It doesn't worry about the year of drought, and it doesn't cease to produce fruit. So notice what God is saying there. If you are planted, namely if you are someone who has your trust in the Lord, whose confidence is the Lord, then what you will find is yourself in the midst of drought, in the year of drought. You won't be worried about it, you won't be fearful of it. When the heat comes, you won't be feeling oppressed by it and struggled by it. Instead, you will find one who gives you strength and nourishment and refreshment. You will be what the Bible describes as blessed. That is, one who is under God's favour. That doesn't mean you are free from all problems, because it doesn't say that you become like a tree that is shielded from all environmental challenges and given perfect conditions to live in. No, instead, you are a tree that has one that constantly supplies strength and help and refreshment and nourishment and constant hope for that nourishment in the future, even when you are in a situation that is painful and difficult. Most of us fear problems and sufferings because of what they might do to us, because we're worried that we won't be strong enough, that it might break us, that it might ruin what we're hoping for and aiming for in life. And here God is saying, if you put your trust in me, you'll be one that can face the worst situations in life, the worst experiences that we can have as human beings in this world that is fallen and corrupt. And you will find yourself equipped and strengthened. You need not worry where your food is going to come from. You need not worry where your strength for the next day is going to come from. You need not worry where the wisdom is going to come from, the words you need to say are going to come from. You need not worry about these things, because if you put your trust in the Lord, if He is your confidence, then you will find yourself equipped and strengthened, because you will be planted, metaphorically of course, in a relationship with Him, who is the stream of living water. We have lots to fear and lots to worry about. We know that on a daily basis. But at the same time, we need not fear and we need not worry, because He is with us. And it doesn't mean that we're going to be rescued from all problems and failures. But it does mean that when we face challenges and difficulties, even like the ones we are facing now, that we will have one with us who is the source of all that we need, who is a constant supplier, whose supplies do not run dry, but will constantly be the one that we need. Today, let us put our trust in the Lord and be like that one who is blessed, who is like a tree planted by water, who sends out its roots to the living streams. For they do not fear the heat, and their foliage remains green, and they don't fear the year-long drought, and they will not cease to produce fruit. Let us be those people who, despite the difficulties and challenges of this world, keep their trust and hope in the living God. Church, we need not worry and need not fear, because our God is able and willing and eager to support us as we seek to live a life in obedience to Him.